Hi YouTube, it's Kathy and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for September 10th through 16th. This week I read 3 books, I watched 2 shows, I watched 3 movies, and I listened to 1 book. The first book on this list is Pageboy by Elliot. Paige. This is his memoir, and I was really looking forward to this because I've enjoyed his work in the past, although I haven't seen everything he's ever done, and just kind of wanted to know his behind the scenes. Like many people who make it in Hollywood, I didn't realize he was Canadian until I read his memoir. That means when he was talking about growing up in Nova Scotia, I had a little bit of a personal connection to that because between the ages of 6 and 12, I also grew up in Nova Scotia. It's always a little bit weird to critique how somebody else has written their memoir because it's literally their story, they can do what they want with it, but some of the writing in this was really abrupt. It would just give you a very specific big detail and then move on, and I still really don't know how to feel about it. That being said, I am glad that I read this. The next book that I finished is The 12-Hour Walk, which is the last book that I officially read for the 75 Hard Challenge. If you've heard me talk about that but you don't know what that is, I also put out a vlog of my experience of doing that challenge, so I'll remember to link that in places for you. It was my last video. The 12-Hour Walk is by this man who is a massive adventurer. He does things like climb Everest, or try to be the first guy to go all the way across Antarctica by himself. No sled dogs, no power, just him pushing a sled for a few months. And during the events of what happened in 2020, he decided one day that he was going to fix his mindset by going on a 12-hour walk where he just walked by himself, no distractions, and was able to basically think over his life and put himself in a good mindset as to things that he needed to do. He's now got a goal of getting 10 million people to do this. I must say this was inspiring. I am interested in doing it. The one hang-up I have is 12 hours, no distractions. Like, I like to listen to audiobooks when I walk, so I'm gonna have to figure out when I can do this with just my own brain, which just seems like a little bit of a lot. The other book I finished this week is a book that has just recently been published, and that is Dear Galaxy by Paige Lavoie. This one is Marshmallow Sweet. It's about Susie Starlight. She works at her school's newspaper, and she actually is secretly the advice columnist, Miss Galaxy. Basically, it's the classic trope of people will write in about their relationship issues and she'll write back in the school newspaper. However, just before spring break, she gets a letter from a secret admirer who wants to send her on this huge road trip, and then at the end she'll find out who the admirer is. She roped some of her newspaper pals into going along with her for this trip, and this was just fun. It's a galactic road trip book full of really great tropes, the most interesting use of the one-bed trope I think I've ever seen, and it's just sweet and fun. It's this weird mixture of futuristic but also like these 50 vibes, and then everything has a cool color scheme. It's just really sweet and a good time. This week Chad and I finally cracked into the 2nd season of Good Omens. He hadn't realized that we haven't seen the 1st season for a very, very long time, so he had kind of forgotten how it ended. Like, not completely because he knows how it ended, but it's one of those things where he can't remember the exact scenes, whereas our roommate has recently watched the 1st season, so she was describing it and he was like, oh yeah, I totally remember that. I find it really interesting that they gave Miranda Richardson a completely different character. Probably because they still wanted her on the show, but with this plot line there was no reason for the character she was previously playing to be there, so they gave her a different one, and I love that. Like I said, I'm only 2 episodes in, and there are a couple of things I've been spoiled for, which I will not spoil you for. One of them I'm upset about, and one of them I'm just looking forward to. I'm also looking forward to the one I'm upset that I was spoiled for, but that's fine. We also watched the 6th episode of the newest season of Futurama, which is a Christmas episode, which is also a time travel episode. This show is just kind of fun, and Chad was hoping to watch it as it came out so he doesn't get spoiled on the internet about it, but it's one of those shows that I don't think you can really do that since it is so episodic. Especially if you're just scrolling through something you can scroll by pretty quickly. But what do I know when it comes to spoilers for this show? Because honestly, I wouldn't care about this particular show. I would still watch the episode and be like, oh okay, yeah, that happened, cool. Since this is the 1st month of Triple October, we had to do our yearly rewatch of Shaun of the Dead, which is just such an absolute masterpiece. I love horror movies that are also comedies, and this one is written so well with so many different callbacks to different things that happened in the script. I just absolutely love this movie. And part of me can't believe that it turns 20 next year. Diverging from the spooky movies for a second because I just really wanted to watch this film because it's honestly been way too many years since I watched this film, I watched Moulin Rouge. Fun fact about me, the very first tattoo I ever got, I just randomly walked into a shop that was actually technically already closed and got a tattoo that says Freedom, Beauty, Truth, Love from Moulin Rouge. This is what happens when you're 20 and your boyfriend at the time is like, you never do anything spontaneous. And then you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna go put my paycheck in the bank, and then you disappear for a few hours and come back. Anyway, talking about movies that are really well written, I love the structure of this. I love the play within a play aspect of it, and it's a play within a play within a play at points, which is just something I always gobble up. And then seeing this amazing cast and these ridiculous circumstances and this beautiful music, I just absolutely adore this film, and I can't believe it's been so many years since I watched it last. Back to the spooky rewatches that we tend to watch every year, we also watched Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, which is another horror comedy that we just absolutely love. It's about these two guys, they've bought a vacation home, it's kind of a really big fixer-upper, it's in the middle of the woods, and they're going there just to fix up the property, and there's these college kids, and from the college kids' perspectives, they're the creepy hillbillies that are there when they're camping. And they keep thinking that the whole time, and keep thinking that they're out to get them, but they're not. They're just honestly nice guys, and circumstances just make them look bad. So the college kids start attacking them, but through a series of mishaps, they end up dying, and it looks like the hillbilly characters are doing it, and it's just so well done, and just so ridiculous at points. This is also one of those movies where the biggest douchebag is named Chad, and every time this happens in a movie, I'm just like, my poor boyfriend, he's the only Chad I know, and he's so nice, and every Chad I see on the screen is just not. On to the book I listened to this week, and that is The Quiet Tenant. This is a book that has 3 point-of-view characters. The first one that we meet is a woman who was captured by a man named Aidan Thomas, which kept throwing me off because obviously there's an author of that name with a slightly different spelling, and he's good people, and this guy is not good people. Anyway, she was captured by him 5 years ago and has been living in his shed behind his property since that time. We also get the perspective of this woman who has a huge crush on Aidan Thomas, and she would really love if he would just one day notice her. Occasionally, we also get the perspective of his daughter, who is 13 years old and is grieving the recent death of her mother. This book is so high stakes. I really wanted to know what was going to happen, whether or not people were going to escape with their lives, how the situations were going to play out. I just really enjoyed all of it. And it was just so intense to see that this whole small town really loved this guy, and us knowing the whole time that he's horrible and that he's killed before and he could kill again. It was just so intense and high stakes at all times. I couldn't stop listening. Just as an aside, before I go, the next probably 2, maybe 3 of these are going to be in different locations, so look forward to those shenanigans. That's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me a smiley face or an emoji, whichever one you want. That's totally fine. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that, as always, is down below. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!